Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and anybody's new, welcome. Shout out to my friend Gail in Louisiana, Stacy in Texas, Giselle from my home city, Noelle, Linda, Sharon, Gina, Sherry, Tony, and Karen. Hi guys. All right, so we are gonna do another Jenga block build. We're gonna start off the video a little bit different than I normally do. We are going to make a template. So you're going to get any plate you have in the cupboard. Now this one moving across is measured at 10.25 inches. Now you can use any size of plate. The block numbers obviously will change, but we're going to make a template. So I have a straight bottom here that you want to make sure this is just a piece of Dollar Tree foam board, and we're going to flip the plate over. I'm going to stick it about right about there, and we're going to just do from right about here, and we're going to make a line to right about there. I think that's about where I ended up on the last one. And you're just using it because you want a half moon, and I went down a little bit too much on one side, so that's okay. I can kind of just go like, flip it over and just realize where my straight edges should be. So I'm just gonna erase right there. You're gonna take a ruler, and I'm just gonna do straight down. I am going to place this flat, the ruler on the bottom, so you make sure you got a straight line. And we're going to do that. Sorry, I'm going to flip it this way, guys. Make sure, once again, it's flat over here and hits the line over here. And just like that. Now with foam board, you can't use scissors, and I would suggest using a big X-Acto knife. Dollar Tree has these little knives like that. Mine is not doing too well. I need to change the blade. I am going to use a bigger one. As I go along, I'm just going to cut this part out, go slow, and make sure it's nice and sharp and goes through the board. Also make sure whatever you're working on that it has protects the table or the surface, whatever you don't want to cut through and go onto your table or anything like that. Now that I have it cut out, I'm gonna just measure it. So what I was trying to say is just keeping the bottom straight when you do make the outline, just at the side of the foam board, just so you have a straight, even edge on the bottom. And I'm just gonna show you here from the top. It's just over 13 inches tall. Can be 12 inches tall. It really depends on how big you want it. So I'm going to do the 13 inches tall. And just move this aside. It's only a template. And even though we're not using this in the crafts, it's just helped to build blocks with it. You can always keep this later for a project, for a tombstone for Halloween, backing of one of a Jenga block builds that we do. So you always just keep it. You don't have to throw it out when you're done. I'm just going to quickly go over what we're going to use. We aren't going to be using, we don't need the L-shaped ruler because we're not gluing the blocks straight like that. But I did want to mention it just for future builds that you do. Even if you don't use my video, use somebody else's video, or you just want to create your own design. Keeping the blocks nice and straight as you glue them along here really works wonders. L-shaped carpenter ruler, you can find it in the hardware section at your DT store. My preference of glue is Well Bond. I buy the bigger bottle at Rona/Lowe's. I get the 420 ml as opposed to the smaller bottle for $160. For I think $4 more, I get the bigger bottle, and it's over double the size of the small one. So better value to get the bigger bottle. Now you can use the wood glue, I did get wood glue from Terry, and it is MIA, so it's not my area. So until I find that glue, because I put it in my crazy craft stashing everywhere, I'm going to use it for another builds. So I am just going to use Well Bond for this build. We are going to be using the tumbling tower blocks. I call them Jenga blocks. They are the smaller blocks from DT. They come in two different packages. They come in blue. This is the older pack, and the brown is the newer package. Now, a lot of you have been telling me that Dollar Tree has lately been coming out with the two-tone ones. I haven't seen them here myself. I'm in Canada. But for all of you in the US, I suggest going to dollartree.com. You can order them if you don't have them in the store. Maybe you can talk to a manager. Maybe they can call you when they come in. They do sell out fast. You can get free shipping to your local store, but it's only on selected stores. So it really depends where you live. If you sign up with dollartree.com as well, sometimes they give you 50% off shipping to your home. So just be mindful for that. All you have to do is sign up for the newsletter on their website, and they'll send you an email out every couple days or a week. They send an email letting know certain products have come in. Keeps you informative what's being at the store as well. Now, I played around. I had this idea. I woke up this morning and I'm like, I really just woke up and said, this is what I want to do. So this is how I started my day, with this idea in my head. Now it's later in the evening and a perfect time. The good thing about Jenga blocks is you can make pretty much anything. If you guys all followed me before, you know what all the stuff we can make, and we can still keep making all kinds of different stuff. Now, it's similar to my my Easter baskets that I did, but I wanted to try something a little different, similar to the trellis planter box, but I want just a trellis. And that's what we're going to do today. Now, the builds, I am going to do two of them. I'm going to do them two different ways. So you can pick either way what style maybe you like better. And I'll give you the variety of one being a different color than another, just to see what your preference are. Thank you for all of you that have tagged me in some of the crafting groups. You guys are all so talented. Sometimes I have to double take. I'm like, is that my craft? Another thing I wanted to touch base with is there's a craft group, and I'm not going to mention any names because I don't mention craft groups on my social media, but there's a craft group that is taking, amidst of the groups are taking people's pictures and posting as their own. And so many of you have contacted me, and I'm aware of that. My biggest suggestion, I think everybody should do it, that's in any of the craft groups, is just simply putting your name on your picture when you post it. Craft groups are going to post it. It's not like you're putting a advertising name or anything like that. Some craft groups do have rules, but I suggest everybody putting their name anywhere on your picture of your craft. So then if somebody else does post it, it won't match to their name, because there's lots of that, like I said, going on in that crafting group, and I've seen a little bit of fights going on, and I just think it's a good idea. We're going to start with this, and we're going to pick some blocks. So I am going to tell you after this build, we're going to do two different, same idea, two different styles. And I'm not sure how many blocks. I will tell you once we build it, because I just run with the idea. We're going to start at the very top. We're going to put one there. We're going to start the sideways one. Nah, you know what? Let's start this one. We're going to do this way. I'm going to put something heavy here because I don't want it to move. Let me just put a block here, box, so it doesn't move. So we're going to start right in the middle. You're going to move down. Similar to the Easter baskets. Go down. Just going to keep following on each side to give the arch on the side. And you're just going to keep going down. Now, I realize when I'm coming to the bottom, I'm going to make sure the bottom is flush. And this is the one thing you got to make sure. The block on the bottom needs to be flush to the end. So when we stand it upright, so try to make in between the little blocks, try to make sure it's even on both sides. You might have to shift some blocks, kind of have the spacing kind of even all the way around. This one looks a little off. I think just like that. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we started with 15. Then the next thing we are going to do is we're going to add another layer. Just give me a second here, guys. There's some stuff on my glue. We're going to add some. Now, I didn't say this at the beginning of my video. I do not suggest using hot glue whatsoever for any Jenga block builds, and they doesn't last long. Wellbond's also at Hobby Lobby. Thank you, Nikki, for letting me know that. We don't have Hobby Lobby here in Canada. So you're going to put some glue just like that, and you're just going to place it on right like that. Just kind of on an angle. And you're going to fill the gaps all the way down. Now the bottom, I'm just going to show, I'm going to jump down to here. And you just want to make sure it's straight. So I'm going to fill in these ones, and I'm going to fill it all the way down to even like the other side. All right, so we glued the second layer. So the first layer that we started at the very bottom that we just placed down was 15. So the next row on top of it is 14, and we're gonna go back around and we're gonna do 15. So on the bottom here, that's the bottom one sticking out, you need to make sure, where's my glue? That it needs to be even. So if you need to find a ruler or something, you know what, I'm just going to use, I know it's not long enough. So you just want to make sure it's straight. You're going to put a bit of glue. I'd put more than a bit of glue. And you're going to place it the same placement as the block underneath. And when you see little glue drips, I just wipe them off. Because this is going to be standing, so you want to make sure this next row that I have it flush against the bottom one, and I'm just going to push it down a little bit to make sure it touches the ruler, so that's even with the next block. So I'm going to do another row of blocks on top, and that should be another 15. All right, so we got the first row 15, second row 14, and the top one was 15, and we're going to go back again, and we're going to do another row of 15. So I'm not just going to keep coming back and forth, because I think you guys kind of get the pattern, the 15, 14, 15, 14. So I will have, so we have 3 rows right now, and I'm going to do 7. So we'll end with 15. So 15, 14, 15, another 14, 15, 14, 15. That makes sense. So when I show you sideways, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now that I have the 7 rows drying, you can just easily take this out. Now, after realizing that we're going to need a base, and I have an idea what we're going to put it on, but I want to have a little bit more stability. I don't want to move it right now because it is drying. Also, too, when you're letting it, putting the glue on, just make sure none of them shift, because sometimes one was shifting over here when I was gluing it, so just moved a little bit. So just be mindful. In between rows would be helpful if you left them for 5 5 to 8 minutes per row, just to make sure that they don't shift and you keep gluing on them and then they start being awkward. So we are going to use the carpenter ruler, L-shaped ruler. I want to put a base on here. It's going to go on something else that we'll get to later. But I want to, while I'm going to let this dry totally overnight, with Wellbond, it says 24 hours. I find within 10 minutes, things start to totally dry, but I want to make sure it's solid because it is a bigger build. I have a row of 6 flat right here, and I'm going to add another 7 rows for a bottom piece that I am just going to glue it on the ends of the 4 on each side and leave that overnight. All right, so I left it overnight to dry and it came out really good. As you can see, the pattern all the way around. Now, I think this one, I don't know what's, something got on it. And I usually try to put these blocks in a different build so you don't see it. I guess I didn't pay attention. So the total blocks just for the round trellis part is 102. So we started off with a row 15, then a row 14, a row 15, 14, 15, 14, 15. So then you have the 4 on the bottom that we attached to the base on both sides. The bottom itself was a row of 6 times 7 rows is 42. And then that equals is 144 blocks for this build. And you can see it's sturdy. So what, like I said at the like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, patience, letting it fully dry is the key, especially when you're making a bigger build so nothing moves or shifts or anything. Sometimes things will fall apart. And if you ever have anything that does fall apart, sand off the glue. Don't glue over top the glue because it's probably not going to hold. Now I am going to do 2. The second build is going to be a little bit different wise with the blocks, but I am going to do this one with gel stain, and I'm just going to use a dark walnut, and this one is from Rona. All right, so I finished staining it all the way around. With the base, I wanted to do something a little different. It was just a little bit plain, and I'm gonna add to this build. So from 144 blocks, we are gonna add 12 blocks. So the total will be 156. We're gonna add a row of 6, and we're gonna put along here and the top. Just adds a little bit extra support for the top as well, because you'll be gluing it on part of the top on one side, and we're gonna do another one on the back side. So it gives it a little bit of a lip on the inside bottom of the base of the trellis. All right, now that we have it all done, I like the little extra on the front and back. Like I said, extra support, and just a couple things that I want to put on the bottom that has the little lip so nothing falls out. I was going to do these ones Easter, and I've decided I'm just going to keep them in general spring craft, and I've done so many Easter baskets and stuff like that. I got this at Dollarama, and this wasn't even in the Easter section. It was just in the summer, spring decor. I guess you hang it outside. I really liked it, and it wasn't that expensive. It was $4, and I thought it was super cute, and I was going to hang it outside until I was making this craft, and thought this would be perfect to have it hanging inside this trellis. So I'm just going to cut it, and I'm going to tie it right through the hoops here and have it hanging probably around right there. I think it would look super cute doing that. And then on the outside, a lot of trellises that are outside have floral on it. And I just saw this one stem, and this was from Dollarama as well. My DT doesn't have that many flowers right now, and I just really like the colors, and I thought it would just make it more pop with the stain. And I'm just going to cut it in half, and I'm just going to glue them along the edge, and I think it's long enough that I can probably do it twice. And I'm just going to hot glue them around the edge. All right, now that I have that glued on, I got one of these stems from Dollar Tree, the plastic foliage. I had some from another one that I picked off already. Just little pieces. Now you can put little hanging pieces. I'm going to cut the top a little shorter and just hot glue some. I just want some little pieces sticking out to fill around the top. On the base right here, just the DT clipboard shapes of the fence. And it just, I'm going to cut it shorter, and you can just overlap a couple at the end. And you can hot glue it right to the bottom once you have it's straight. And I'm going to paint them actually, I'm going to do white. So I'm going to hot glue those in, paint that white, get that glued on. All right, so I got some of the little pieces that I did in the back. I did add a few just to fill it up a little bit in between the garland that I put on. I do want some that are a little bit longer. We are going to fill the bottom, but I just feel like a little bit more in the back. If you've seen my Temu video, I did get this one strand of greenery. And I'm just going to pull them off, and I'm going to just add a little bit of extras in the back, just hanging, looking like long pieces of greenery hanging on the back. I'm just going to add a hot glue, a couple pieces on the back. Also, I just found this bird in my stash that I think I'm just going to stick it just with the colors. I just thought it matched with the flowers, and I'm just going to hot glue them right up here, sitting on top. Now for the bottom, I am just going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to kind of make a design coming outwards underneath the swing with the rocks. And then on the sides here, I'm just going to leave empty until we move on to that step. Now that I have the rocks just over some top of the Mod Podge, even if some of them are a little bit loose, it's okay because we have that lip on the front and back to keep the rocks in. I just want to put in a corner, got the little pots from Dollar Tree. They come in a 3-pack. And I just have this part of a succulent that I'm just going to stick in there. I'm going to stick it right in the corner. I don't know why I feel like I need a little plant in there. And then the exposed area of the wood here and the wood here, I am just going to put some reindeer moss down. Now you can use the little green felt fake green grass that comes in the squares. If you have that near your store, you could do that too. I'm just going to put some reindeer moss down. All right, so I found a little mushroom, and I just for something to put there. You can put little flowers if you want to. Totally everything can be changed. Dollar Tree has these little welcome signs with the little bike. I'm going to take the chains off right here, and I'm going to try to cut with wire cutters those little circles off so I can use the bike. All right, so I did have no problem at all. I didn't even have to cut it. I just moved it back and forth. You probably use pliers. The little back part, there's still a little piece on there, but I didn't even cut the metal. It just kind of came off. I did touch it up with a little bit of Tuscany red and black, just because there's some parts of the black on there. Now you can totally change the color of the bicycle if you want. I'm going to leave as is. I'm going to glue the front wheel on the front part of the blocks on one side, and I'm going to shift the back end of the bike just a little bit inward on an angle, and it should sit in there nicely, looking like Peter went for a bike ride and found this beautiful trellis and went on a swing ride. Let me just get that glued on, and I'm going to move the camera backwards so you can see what it looks like fully done. All right, guys, so here it is done. I think it turned out super cute. Right in there with the rocks. I did find one of these when I was trying to look for my ladybugs. I actually wanted to put a little ladybug here on the plant or even along the fence, and they're tiny, just like the little bee ones. I couldn't find. I know I'll eventually find it when I'm going through some stuff, and I'll probably just glue it right on. I did find the little wish rock, and you can get these at DT. They sell them separately, or you can get a 3-pack from Dollarama. I'm just gonna sit it right there. Once I get my lights, I will probably just put some lights in underneath here just to brighten it up, but I think it turned out super sweet. Let's start on the white one, the second build now. All right, we're gonna start on the second one. We're gonna change this design of the trellis a little bit different. We're gonna switch the blocks and we're gonna move them. We did them the long way, or the narrow side outwards. We're gonna switch it to the side. So we're just gonna place them like we did the other ones, but flat. We're just gonna go around. And it actually will be the exact same number. Will be 15 blocks. I should start here to make sure it's even on both sides. The same idea, making sure it's level to the bottom of our cutout. Oops. I'm gonna put this on it so it won't move. Just making sure you got the right spacing all the way around. This this one here, we're not going to make a bottom for it. We're going to use something else, so it kind of gives you a little bit of different options. You can mix the first trellis to this trellis, switch out options. So we have 15 here, and then we're going to do 14, 15, and we're going to work our layers upwards. And I'm going to do I'm going to do 10. I want to see if the thickness will be enough sticking out, only because when you're doing them this way, the build was out wider on the side. When you have the blocks halfway, gluing them flat, the build will be skinnier. I just want to make sure. So I'm going to do a row up to stack them up until 10. All right, so here it is glued. I did 11 rows, 15, 14, 15, 14, 15, 14, 15, 14, 15, 14, 15. The 15 making sure that the outer blocks were the longer than having them short. Just gives it extra stability on each side. So 160 blocks. Now I was gonna do a DT tray on it. That fits perfectly. Now the first build, because it is wider, does not fit in the DT. It's just a little bit off. It won't sit flat. I am gonna put a Jenga block build on the inside of it. So I am gonna opt out, but I did wanna show you. If you're low on blocks, maybe you wanna just use the tray and use this build. I am going to use same base as the other one, except I'm going to glue it on a little bit different. We are going to do 7 rows of 6. So the first row is 6 all the way down to 7 rows. So it'll be 42 blocks in total. And when you place it on top, you won't be able to see because the camera's covering it. There is amount of space in the front and back because it's a little bit more narrow. And that's okay, because we're going to do just like the other build. We're going to add another 2 rows of 6 and 6. Once it's glued on, you'll be able to put it right on top of the blocks. Instead of the first build was in front, this one will be right on top while this is glued on top. And then you can glue this part together. Now that it's fully dried on, you can see that on the sides of the front of the bottom board. Now I did this with the Easter baskets. I tried with the spray paint, but I want to do, I don't know why I'm showing you that, just some white DT paint. I am going to do 2 coats of that. And then I'm going to go over just with some semi-gloss white. I find that it's a lot easier, especially with the holes in it, and it turns out pretty good. It doesn't do full coverage unless you do a bunch of layers, but we just want to base white on it, and I think it will turn out pretty good. All right, now that I've finished that, so I did 2 coats of the white DT, and I did about three or 4 coats of the spray paint, and I think it turned out pretty good. I'm gonna flip it this way. Now, I'm gonna put some fairy lights, and I'm just gonna weave in and out of the holes. I order my fairy lights with the thin battery pack from Amazon. And I always like getting the battery, if you see in the pictures, I like getting the ones that have the little extra plastic, and you usually can see in the pictures when you order them. I just find that they're a lot brighter, and instead of just having the straight little wire right to the battery pack, I don't know what it is, I just find that the ones work better with the battery or the extra plastic on it. And I get 10 for just over $20, and they have the 20 LED lights, and I use the color warm. I find the white bright is too bluish. When you are gonna glue on the lights, I usually just put the battery pack, the part where you take the 2 screws, take them out first, and then I'll just hot glue it down like that. So if you need to open it up, you can just open it like that and change the batteries when you need to. Then you're just gonna loop it, and I'm just gonna show you here. I'm just gonna hot glue the battery pack, and I'm just gonna keep the lights more to the top. And just go like that for, actually I'm just gonna go like that, and we're gonna conceal it after. And then I'm just gonna bring it out, and I'm just gonna weave it in along the lines back and forth until I'm done putting the last part of the fairy lights on. All right, now that I have it glued on, I actually put the battery pack on the side. As you can see here, the greenery is gonna be over, so it is gonna cover it. I'm gonna do some greenery on it. I got these, it just says plastic greenery grass from Dollar Tree. And I'm just gonna take this off. And you can put anything on there. You can put flowers around it, more greenery. I'm gonna do some greenery. These stems are pretty thick. I think there's 5 in total. I've already cut some off already. There's 2. I'm going to show you. You might have to cut them shorter. So I have a bunch of these. I have 6 bouquets, stems all together, and I'm going to show you. I got 6 of these, so I don't know if I'm going to use all of them, but I'm going to cut all these off. And the best way to do it, and there's always one longer one. Oh, this one's about a little bit longer. The longest one, you're just going to bend it. I'm going to hang it so the back of the trellis is, and you're just going to hot glue it right on just like that. And then some of the side ones, exact same idea, you can hot glue it right in. But when it's sitting straight like that, there's the one main piece holding it all together. Just kind of bend it, so when you just hook it in and glue it, it goes nicely down the side. I think I'm only going to go to about here, and I'm going to do all the way around the top and the back. All right, so I left the top part open like that. You can see I just did it down to about 3/4 down, and I didn't put the back on yet. As I was building, or as I was gluing on the greenery, I was gonna do a bench sitting at the bottom, and then I totally thought to myself that why don't we do a hanging bench? And I was like, okay, you know what, we can do that. And so even if you did use the tray, the hanging bench, because originally I thought didn't want the lip being so deep in that tray for DT, so you can still use that tray and use the hanging bench. So the hanging bench, the bench itself is only going to be 35 blocks. And we are going to start with the back of the top of the swing bench, I guess we should call it. So you're going to put 4 blocks. You're going to glue them like such. I got 4 blocks there. Then you're going to glue a block on top. Oh, there's something there. I don't know, there's something here. There's a piece of fluff. You're going to glue a piece right there. I'm just going to move this out of the way. gonna add another piece. You're not gonna put in the middle. You're gonna kind of do it over a little bit. One piece directly in the middle there, and then just kind of figure out right there. Just make sure the spacing is a little bit even in between these two and right there. So we got the 4, 5 blocks. Then you're going to add 4 more blocks just to the top, and you're just going to glue it right on like that. And just like that, that's going to be the back part. So that total there is 13. I'm just going to move this one out of the way. And then the base I already had done because it was in my part of glued blocks, never used it for part of a project. So this is going to be the seat of the swing. And we're going to do 4, 4, 4, and 4. So that's 16. Then you're going to grab 3 blocks and you're going to just glue them just like that on the side, the thicker part. And you're going to need 3 and 3, so you're going to be 6. So that's a total of 35 blocks. Now I do have it glued on the other side, so you're going to grab the base of the swing, seat swing. You're going to grab your one piece that's dry, and you're going to glue it right on top, just like that. And you're going to glue the arms, the 3 and 3, right on top, right to the back, and right on each side, just like that. Now, when I was doing it, you could put the little arm out, but when we put it hanging, it's gonna catch on the arm, if that makes sense, and it will make the arm. I'll show you when we get to that part, but we're just gonna glue this together, and I'm just gonna go ahead and paint it white. Before we attach the swing, I wanna actually do something on the bottom of the trellis. I'm just gonna move it like this. Oops. I'm just gonna move the camera down a bit. On the bottom here, I'm just gonna place some rocks. I'm just gonna paint some Mod Podge down on the bottom and the front, and I'm just gonna hot glue some reindeer moss in the back, and then we're gonna glue the swing on. All right, so this is painted. Excuse me. I want to do a cushion on it. I just didn't want to leave it all white. I just cut out a piece of cardboard. I made sure it was a little bit smaller on both sides just to accommodate material. I didn't have any stuffing, so I am just going to use some hot glue, and I have some white fur from DT. Just a piece will be my my stuffing. It's a little bit thicker. Grabbed a piece of material from Dollar Tree, cut it out according to size, and I'm just going to do it right there. I don't feel like my glue gun is hot enough. And let me see. I'm just going to hot glue. So we're going to make a little, I guess, seat pad for it. Okay. I'm just going to hot glue. You can also sew if you're great at sewing. You can also sew some stuff. You can sew it on. Maybe you have stuffing. I just thought the little fur was good enough to have a little seat that gives it a little bit of little padding to it. Now I'm just going to cut the extra off. I'm going to cut a little bit on the corners. Now you could also, instead of doing a seat cushion, you could also do cushions. That's another option. I want to just glue this down a little bit more. Make sure this is tight there. And this kind of reminds me of wrapping. The bottom part underneath, that's the top. Just gonna stick it right in there. You know, when you're wrapping gifts, you're trying to get a nice straight edge. Before you put the glue on. And you're just gonna flip it over and it's gonna stick all over my nails. You're gonna do that for the exact other side. I might have to glue that little bit of that corner down. So make sure it's nice and flat. A little bit more than the other. And then once we get this part done, we are going to add the thing to hang the bench. And you want to make sure that when you're cutting this, that you do cut it shorter so you make sure it fits. And it fits just like that. All right, so I'm gonna move this over. So I thought about a bunch of different things that we could use as chains. There's, if you can't find anything like these are just eyeglass cords and they come in different styles. You could use jute rope, you can use string, it's really up to you. I just thought I really wanted the look with the silver chain look. And they're actually perfect that you don't even need to cut them or anything like that. I'm just gonna move this over here. Now I already have one in here. I'm gonna turn this sideways like this. Oh yeah, no, my rocks. I didn't glue all of them all the way down. And that's okay. The little lip keeps them there. Actually, I'm gonna show you here. So this is the center. Then you see the little holes here. Then there's another center holes, another center of holes, and then I put them on the fourth row of holes here on the front and right on, oops, sorry guys, right on the back here, right there on that side. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you do this before you put on your greenery. That's why I stopped thinking that I wanted to do the basket. So and it just goes right in the hole there. Much easier if you don't have the greenery on it. I'm gonna stick it right in there. And then I'm gonna do it right at the front, so it's gonna go underneath, so I'm gonna have to lift this greenery. I'm just going to switch the view of my camera. All right, now that I have both the eyeglass chains here, I'm going to start with the back. Now you're going to take the bottom and you're going to glue it right on the back, right like that. So I'm going to do that. You're probably going to have to hold it on for a minute or so. Actually, I'm going to move it down. I'm going to add another piece. I want to get that whole piece. Okay, we're going to try this again. We're going to do the back first. So do you see the top part there? And then I'm going to need a little bit more hot glue for the other. I think that should work. Then we're going to grab the other side of the, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Make sure I grab that. So when you do the back first, before you do the front, you can just make sure that it's even, so the one side doesn't flop forward or backwards. And after I actually glue this on, I'm just gonna paint a little bit of Well Bond right over the hot glue and right over the little components here to make sure that it seals properly. So there we go. We have that one. Let's see, that one fell off. Don't do hot glue over hot glue. I'm going to pick this off. Now that we have both of the eyeglass chains on each side, I did glue one already, and I'm going to show you right here. Oh, there's a bit of the whole plastic piece right on hot glued sideways. We're going to do the same for the back. We're going to do the back first. I'm gonna do it here, guys. Just give me a sec. So if you do the back first, then you're gonna do the balancing act afterwards to make sure that, I'm just gonna hold it here for a second. Once I do get all four on glued on, I am gonna actually just paint some Well Bond right over the hot glue and the little plastic in the metal thing here, just for some extra support. That should be good now. So, okay, so I'm gonna have to pull this, I think pull this one up. And this is why I didn't want to have the little lip hanging over, so you make sure that this, and it looks like that's gonna go right there. And you just gotta play with the chain, move it up or down. I'm just gonna do some, you can glue it on. Ouch. Then you're going to do that with the other side, the little tricky part. Right on. Not before I play around and move them. I don't want to, because that one's still drying. So you're just going to have to play around with the top part and just make sure as you go along. And just like that. So you have it hanging. And then we can just put the little pad in there once we're done. Now, earlier I did say that, I'm gonna just move the camera again. Oops. Up here, I am just gonna fill some more greenery, and I am just gonna stick, like I said earlier, some greenery in the back. All right. I want to add some color in there just because it's really, really green all the way down. And I did find some of these picks that I have that were in one stem, and I ended up cutting them. But I think I'm just going to pull these off, and I'm going to add a little pink only because we have that in the cushion for the swing. Also, too, sometimes you might have little pieces you could stick in little bare spots. And I'm just going to hot glue these in randomly throughout the top and both sides. All right, so I am finished, and I just wanted to show you, I just added a little bird that I had in my little animals box that I keep of animals that I have. And on the bottom, I actually switched out my rocks to be full, kind of a rectangular with a little bit of green on the side, and I just added a little flowers with some reindeer moss on the side just to give a little touch. Now, on the back of the bench, I just hot glued the chain there just so the chain kept coming on the side, and it just holds it in place better, nice and balanced. So here what it looks like all done with the flowers mixed in with the other greenery. You can see the lights, it's a little bright in here, so it's hard to see all lit up. And then you got the little flowers on the bottom. I thought I'd share this one again, just so we could have one more peek. You can always come to my Facebook page, The Crafty Shopper, and have a closer view of all my builds. Plus, if you want to meet a craft buddy, I do have a post. Just search it up. Maybe you'll find somebody in your area that likes to craft just as much as you do. Please give me a thumbs up and let me know which one you like better. Happy crafting. See you soon. Bye.